I'm Julie Grant, and we are in South Carolina for a brand new case we're tracking for you. We're calling this one the teacher or predator case for defendant Nicole Callaham. The 33-year-old is charged with sexually assaulting a teenager for 2 years' time when he was 14 years old. Callaham was somewhat of a mentor to the teen, not directly teaching him in any classes. On Monday, she was in court for a bond hearing where it was revealed that she's now pregnant. However, we do not believe it is the victim's child. We do know for a fact that she was given bond. We're going to play the whole unaired hearing for you coming up this hour, and you're going to hear the victim in the case speak out.
All I really want the public to know is that though it's a traumatic event, I'm here to fight and I'm not going to back down. And that I think more awareness needs to be brought to things like this, and just because I'm a man doesn't mean that it should be shunned away. Because I was a child, I wasn't a man, I was a boy.
Wow, he's so brave speaking up. That young man, 18 years old now, Grant Strickland, speaking out, wanting to identify himself as the victim in this case. And you heard what he said. He's not backing down. He's going to continue fighting. And we're going to have more from his statement after the hearing coming up for you later this hour. But first, let's start at the beginning. Unaired footage from court on Monday. Here we go.
You had a chance to talk to him this morning, did you, Nick?
I did. Yes, sir, I have. Yes, sir.
Come around, Ms. Callahan, and you'll be right there with Mr. Epps. All right, Ms. Callahan, you've been charged by the Greenville City Police Department with several charges here. I'll just count them up. Is it 6 CSC charges?
8, Your Honor.
8 now, okay. And then I've got 2, it looks like unlawful treatment of children.
There should be 4 more on it for the child. Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know whether I've got those here in the stack or not. All right, but you understand you've been served with a number of warrants, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been arraigned on those charges by our ministerial recorders at the detention center. You understood the nature of the charges, what the warrant body says, and also you understand the punishments for these cases. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you've had a chance to talk to Mr. Epps about these cases. All right, well, this purpose of you being brought here this morning is for me to set bond on each of these cases. And in order to do that, I'm going to hear a little bit from the detective that handled the case, Mr. Bowles. Detective Bowles, tell me a little bit about this factual situation, please.
Yes, Your Honor. On May 22nd, 2025, the Greenville Police Department received a report from investigators from the Anderson County Sheriff's Office regarding the sexual assault case listing Nicole Callaham as the suspect. The victim, through an interview with the Anderson County Sheriff's Office and the Greenville Police Department, reported a history of calculated manipulation, grooming by Callahan, which allowed her considerable access to the victim, who was a minor child at the age of 14, but under the age of 16 at that time. Through this access and position of influence over the victim, Callahan began sexually assaulting the victim and providing the victim with alcohol while in outings to various extracurricular activities, many of which were in and around the city of Greenville. The abuse continued after the victim began attending school his junior and senior year in the city of Greenville. Throughout the investigation, we have obtained statements, both physical and digital evidence, and records to corroborate the reports of abuse. The state is requesting that the municipal court no bond the defendant Nicole Callaham at this time. This case is still under investigation and very likely to produce criminal charges, which Callahan is already on bond for, with charges stemming from Anderson County Sheriff's Office. And I do have copies. The court requested bond paperwork from Anderson County as well as a criminal history from Ms. Callahan. The court would like that. May I approach, Your Honor?
Pass that up.
Yes, sir. You've also got a copy.
I have a copy of this.
All right, did you hear that? She's got charges in another county. We don't know what those are. It said there that she is out on bond. with charges from Anderson County, and they're talking about the Greenville police filing these instant charges with that young man we just saw speaking out. Looks like this woman's got quite a few legal problems to me. Let me bring in our attorney guest. He's a practicing criminal defense attorney in the private sector, now formerly a prosecutor. Randolph Rice on the show with us. Randolph, good morning. I think Ms. Callahan's in some big trouble. What do you think, please?
Yeah, good morning, Julie. I definitely think she's in some hot water here, and the fact that she's facing very similar charges in 2 separate jurisdictions, which means she's going to have to run the gauntlet 2 times to try to get out of this this little pickle that she's in. It's certainly not good facts. You know, hearing from the victim there, he seems to be willing to participate and seems to be able to come and speak, which is one of the big problems when you have, you know, minor victims. Can they get up there and articulate what exactly happened? He seems to be able to do that.
Yeah, he sure does, Randolph. There's more to his statement. As you know, we'll play it all and dig deep. I'm so impressed with his bravery and his courage because, you know, oftentimes we see the opposite. We see young folks not realizing they've been victimized, and we see that attachment, that bond that forms with these predators, and they don't see themselves as having been victimized. And I look at him and I think, wow, the emotional intelligence of this man at 18 to realize what happened was wrong, and to be so brave to say, oh no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm prepared to fight this. What did you think when you saw that little snippet we played, Randolph?
Oh, I think you're exactly right, Julie. I mean, this man, or we say man, I guess young man at this time, has incredible courage and bravery to come forward. I mean, just as an example, across the country right now, the number of sexual abuse cases that are coming to the court system that are 20, 30, 40 years old, that nobody ever said anything about. They finally had, obviously, the courage to come forward. But this young man certainly has the courage now to come forward, stand up, and speak out because he was a victim. Yeah, he's a very, very brave young man. He's got a bright future ahead of him. The fact that he can be 18, look at those cameras and speak so eloquently and firmly about something so traumatic and understand that it's a trauma, it just speaks volumes about his intelligence and integrity. So we'll hear more from Grant Strickland, and we'll watch more with this hearing. Randolph Rice, I'm so glad you're with us for the hour. Stay put at home, please. You can get up to get some coffee. We're going to hit a 4-minute break. We'll be right back.
Matriarch of the Adelson family gets arrested.
Terrible.
Donna Adelson is facing charges of murder, the death of her former son-in-law, Dan Markell.
Prosecutors say a bitter child custody battle was the motive for the murder-for-hire plot.
Now that Donna has turned into a defendant, what's next for the Adelson clan?
Now that the ship is really sinking fast, blood doesn't matter that much.
The Matriarch Mastermind murder trial. Live coverage begins this August on Court TV.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. We're in South Carolina for the bond hearing of a teacher accused of having inappropriate sexual contact with an underage student. This is 33-year-old Nicole Callaham. She's facing charges in 2 different counties in South Carolina. We know in this case that we're watching right here, where she's in for the bond hearing on this case. The alleged victim is a 14-year-old boy, now 18 years old. He was there at the hearing, spoke out afterward. We're going to hear more from him. Let's go back in and hear more about these other charges. Remember, she's got another set of charges, and the prosecution was just bringing that out. Here we go.
Are you aware of the time factor involved between these cases that were committed there in Anderson and the ones that began to be committed in the city of Greenville?
Well, span about
Did Anderson predate that by some time?
There is some. We've got about 2 years of reported abuse from the time that they met till the time that the abuse stopped. But I don't have a hard line date as far as when it started in the city of Greenville and when it stopped in Anderson County, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and I didn't know whether it, you indicated that he finished his, or is working on his junior and senior year here in the city of Greenville?
He is no longer here, Your Honor.
Okay, he graduated from school. Okay,
Yes, Your Honor.
but he was here for approximately a 2-year period.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that was pretty much exclusively where he was.
Yes, Your Honor.
He lived on campus.
Part-time, and then he would go back home
Okay.
to Anderson. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so very good. I understand a little bit more about it. Mr. Epps, anything you'd like to tell me about this?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. May it please the court, William Norman Epps III. I represent the defendant, Nicole Callaham. Your Honor, respectfully, we ask the court to set a reasonable bond. This is pursuant to our state constitution, Article 1, Section 15. Also, our statutory code 1715-10, as well as statutory code 225510. Your Honor, we ask the court to set a reasonable bond. Again, she was in front of Anderson County Magistrate Court for a bond hearing last Thursday, July the 10th. She was granted a surety bond on each and every one of her charges that are pending. These charges overlap, and obviously, Your Honor, you know that Ms. Ballou she's got a presumption of innocence, which is applicable to all criminal defendants prior to conviction. Your Honor, she's 33 years old. She's not charged with any capital crime. Other than the pending matters, the defendant Ms. Callaham has no criminal background. I will also let Your Honor know that Ms. Callaham is 8 to 9 weeks pregnant with a prenatal appointment with her OBGYN on July the 15th, 2025 at 10:50 a.m. She has not had any prenatal care. Again, she cooperated with Anderson County. She cooperated with law enforcement. She turned herself in last Thursday, July the 10th. Since that time, Your Honor, she's had really no prenatal vitamins or prenatal care. She's dizzy now, so I have a chair here for her right now. Ms. Callahan and her family are citizens and residents of Anderson County. They've been members of that community all of Ms. Callahan's life. Ms. Callahan's mother, Rhonda, is here. Her sister, Erica, is here. Her fiance, Brandon Dixon, is here. Mr. Dixon does reside in Greenville County. Your Honor, she has a 5-year-old daughter, Livy. She's a great mother. I will tell you that Ms. Callahan taught at Homeland Park Elementary for 8 years, I believe, beginning in 2017. She stayed at Homeland Park when a lot of teachers were leaving. She stayed long after she satisfied her teaching requirements because she loved helping these students. At Homeland Park Elementary, a lot of those students were low-income minorities and special needs children. During that time, Your Honor, her students' test scores were among the highest as a result. She's been involved with the theater for many years. She has a bachelor's degree from Anderson University, where she was on the president's list, and also a master's degree from the University of South Carolina, where she graduated with honors. She attends faithfully at High Praises Church in Anderson with her entire family. She was on the drama team at church, played softball and basketball youth league, and worked at a Christian daycare while in school.
All right, defense attorney doing his job there. So let's talk about the few other things we were able to glean from this conversation between the lawyers and the judge here about this defendant and the victim. Let's bring back in attorney Randolph Rice. So Randolph, seems to me that while we know there are charges pending in different counties, it seems like it's the same victim. Were you thinking the same thing hearing the judge's comments?
I was, Julie, and a quick search, and I sort of remember this from my travels through South Carolina. Anderson County is just to the southwest of Greenville County, which is where this bail review is happening right now. So it makes sense that possibly there was a offense committed in Anderson County, and then maybe another offense committed in Greenville County, and that's why we've got charges in these 2 different jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm. And that being said, Randolph, these prosecutors ought to talk to each other, right? Being in different counties, it doesn't always happen. But here I would think in a case like this, being high profile and there's media swarming, they will. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it depends on the personalities of the state's attorneys or the prosecutors in 2 different counties. A lot of times these prosecutors are elected to each county. And if they don't maybe agree or they don't see eye to eye on some political issue, they might not talk, and therefore they might not cooperate, and it makes it very difficult for their assistant state's attorneys to handle cases when they've got two different, or they got a defendant with two different jurisdictions.
Right. Yeah, we have to have any politics set aside and work for the greater good here, getting justice for this victim. Okay, and Randolph, thank you for that. So geographically, we're looking at an area that's very close, neighboring areas, and the judge, you could hear his concern about where this young man is living now, and then we hear defense counsel advocating for his client's personal concerns, being pregnant. We understand she has a fiance. From what we believe, it's the fiance's baby. Randolph, thoughts on the whole picture here? No criminal history, 9 weeks pregnant, nauseous or dizzy, whatever he said, sitting down, not living near the victim. What do you think here? What's appropriate for this woman?
Well, you know, it's not a violent crime. You've got the victim that's moved out of the area, so there's probably not a chance of having contact with the victim, which is the most important thing here. That's the most important factor I think the judge is going to consider is there going to be contact with the victim again? We want to make sure that there is none and that this doesn't happen, obviously, while she's pending trial. So overall, I think the defense attorney did a great job. I was a little underimpressed with the state's presentation. I just didn't think they leaned into it very hard.
Right, Randolph. Yeah, the defense counsel looked far more prepared. I'm with you, far more prepared. He was ready to go. And, you know, in terms of how much of a threat is she to anybody being pregnant, you know, I think her current state is going to work to her advantage. Maybe she's somebody who would do well with a nice ankle monitor. I don't know. I don't know what the judge is going to do here. Randolph, what do you think? Go ahead. Could that be a good
No, I agree with you, Julie. I'm not sure what he's going to do either. You know, this is it's one of those tough cases, and it's hard because the judge obviously is under a microscope to worry about. Does he let her out, and then does he get blowback for obviously letting somebody out that's a child predator potentially?
No, exactly. And especially when the media is all over a case, every move the court's making is going to be scrutinized. You're right. Randolph, great insight. Thank you kindly. We'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll have more of the bond hearing. And later, we'll hear from the victim, Grant Strickland, speaking out.
I really want the public to know is that though it's a traumatic event, I'm here to fight and I'm not going to back down. And that I think more awareness needs to be brought to things like this, and just because I'm a man doesn't mean that it should be shunned away. Because I was a child, I wasn't a man, I was a boy.
What a brave young man he is. That's Grant Strickland, the alleged victim in this sex abuse case we're tracking out of South Carolina. Is this woman a teacher? Is she a predator? Is she both? She's 33 years old now. Her name is Nicole Callaham, 29 at the time. Police alleged she became a mentor to that young man we just saw when he was 14. She didn't teach him directly in class, but got to know him through school. And police say that there was inappropriate sexual conduct that was happening. She was an adult at the time. He was a minor at the time. That is why we are here at this bond hearing Monday to determine her state as she awaits trial on these allegations. So now let's hear more from her defense attorney, doing a really great job. We were just complimenting him on his preparedness and how he's informing the court of everything in this woman's life, saying how she has no criminal history. She's very involved in her church, Christian activities. She's 9 weeks pregnant and seeing a doctor. It would be today. The hearing was yesterday. He said on the 15th of July. So let's go back in and hear more of his arguments now.
Contrary to what's been said by the Strickland family, her family adores her. Her mother there was a written statement by her mother at the Anderson bond hearing that said that she had said her mother and sister hated her. Again, that's not the case. Her mother and sister are here. Her family adores her. She also has a lot of a lot of cousins and nephews who all love her. They have special needs children in this family, Your Honor, and Ms. Callaham is always there to work with them and counsel their parents. Again, she was granted a surety bond in Anderson, and upon information and belief, we believe that Anderson County there's some conduct by Mr. Strickland that's being investigated by Anderson County at this time. Ms. Callaham has cooperated. She's given a statement regarding the warrants in Anderson, and we really only became aware of the Greenville investigation last week when I was advised by Investigator Erskine in Anderson County. So we certainly, Ms. Callaham certainly will cooperate, wants to cooperate. There's no evidence on the record of any convictions or any record of flight to avoid prosecution by the defendant. There's no evidence or failure to appear in court for other prosecutions of the defendant. There's no evidence of past history of violence by Ms. Callaham or violent tendencies. She's not a flight risk or a danger to the community, Your Honor. And there's really no findings or evidence on the record that the defendant's release will not reasonably assure her appearance as required, or that she's an unreasonable danger to the community. I believe, Your Honor, that the victim lives out of state. There's been no contact in nearly a year. There's not going to be any contact in nearly a year. Well, there's not going to be any contact at all, but there's been no contact in nearly a year. And I will tell you, any contact last fall, when the victim and Ms. Callaham went to Ulta to pick out makeup, there's been really no contact since then. And any contact was initiated by Mr. Strickland. Now, we understand, there's been a lot of media coverage in this case. And I respect the media. I respect law enforcement. I cannot and will not try this case in the media.
No, sir, we're not going to do it in this courtroom either. They have a right to be here.
Absolutely.
But at that point, I'm not concerned with that.
Yes, sir.
I'm concerned about setting a bond.
Yes, sir. And so, Your Honor, we respectfully ask the court to set a reasonable surety bond if necessary, Your Honor. Set GPS, set house arrest if necessary. We ask the court to set a bond. Again, Miss Callaham is pregnant. She's at 8 to 9 weeks pregnant. I'm certain that the Greenville County Detention Center doesn't want to take care of a pregnant lady in her first trimester. So respectfully, we ask the court to grant a reasonable surety bond with any other conditions that may apply. Again, Anderson County set a $10,000 surety bond on each charge, which is ultimately a $40,000 surety bond. We'd ask the court for a reasonable bond in this matter.
All right, sir. Where, if she is released on bond, is she going to be living?
She'll be living in Anderson County.
Well, I mean, with her parents or with her fiance?
If I can take a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I need to know that.
And I advise if she's released, she will be living with her fiance, Brandon Dixon, who's here in the courtroom. He does live in Greenville County.
So she's going to be living in Greenville County?
If she lives, yes, sir. She's got an apartment in Anderson County. Her family lives in Anderson County. The victim's family lives in Anderson County. The victim lives out of state, I believe, in New York. But it's my understanding, talking to my client right now, that she can live with her fiance, and that would be in Greenville County.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any indication that they're going to be additional, I realize additional charges, but additional victims at this point?
There's nothing to indicate that so far, Your Honor.
Okay. Now, is the defendant intending to work while she can up until the birth of the child? And if so, what kind of job she going to be working?
Yes, and then again, Your Honor, once this investigation started, she was a teacher. She was going to be a teacher at North Point Elementary, but she had to resign her position. She has been an educator, but she does have a job opportunity. And if I may ask my... Your Honor, it's my understanding, because she cannot go back to her teaching job, but she does have a job opportunity with Mr. Dixon's sister. It's, I believe it's called Hire Quest. It is a consulting job for construction companies, and she has been told and been offered that employment. So to work with that company.
All right, sir. Anything further from the city at this point? Anything that the victim may want to convey for me through the victim witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, going to pause it right there. We're going to hear more from the alleged victim in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is the teacher or predator case in South Carolina. We're in the very early stages of it. This is just a bond hearing after the initial charges. And there is that young man, 18 years old now, Grant Strickland. You're going to hear a lot from him when we come back.
Two parents face a jury
over the attempted murder of their own daughter. Court TV takes you inside the trial that's torn a family apart.
The attempted honor killing trial. Live coverage today, only on Court TV.
Convicted killer Brian Koberger will learn his fate for murdering 4 Idaho college students and come face to face with the families of his victims.
The sentencing of Brian Koberger, July 23rd, only on Court TV.
Out.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. Great to have you with us on this Tuesday. We've got a brand new trial that's going to be coming up, and we're tracking it at the early stages for you. So this is at the bond hearing for the defendant. This lady is a former elementary school teacher being accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old boy for a period of 2 years. That's her there in these pictures. She looks young, right? She's 33 now. The alleged victim is 18 now. And this hearing is to determine whether or not she should be out on bond pending trial. We're about to listen to the victim weigh in on whether the defendant should be given a bond. And there's someone else delivering the victim's sentiments. My best guess, my best educated guess is that this is a victim's advocate working in the court system and doing this for him. Let's take a listen together now.
When I was 14, I was lonely and depressed, and that's how she found me, a teacher, someone who is supposed to help kids learn and grow. Instead, she groomed and molested me. She saw I was vulnerable and used that to her advantage. What started as attention during a school play quickly turned into manipulation, emotional abuse, and trauma that I never should have had to carry. She was touchy, inappropriate, and invasive. She broke down my sense of self, fed into my eating disorder, deepened my depression, and twisted the way I saw love, identity, and safety. She called me a when I tried to save her life. She told me to kill myself when I was barely holding on. She made it difficult for me to be myself, confused about who I was, and alone at a time I needed support the most. And all while doing this, she had a 2-year-old daughter, a little girl I loved like a sister, as she tore me apart behind closed doors. She didn't hurt me, she stole from me my childhood, my teenage years, the time I was supposed to be discovering who I was. She filled me with shame, guilt, silence, and fear. She saw a boy with a soft heart and tried to break him, but she didn't win. I am not haunted by her, I am not broken, I am stronger than she will ever be, and I hope it eats her alive to know that after everything she did, I still rose. I found my voice, I found my power, and I will never be silenced again. I didn't deserve the trauma and pain that she threw at me, and now the only thing she gets to live with is the truth and some really deep regret.
There are 2 more warrants that I don't have, but there's supposed to be 4 of the, it's probably somewhere between here and there. But I am going to take those warrants into consideration as well. I understand the request for no bond, but that's simply going to be a transfer of this to circuit court and then have another bond set. I'm going to set a surety bond on each of these in the amount of $10,000 as they did in Anderson for a total of $120,000 surety. The conditions on each of these bonds will be as follows. First of all, she's to be on house arrest unless she does get this job, and I'll expect you, Mr. Epps, to keep this court advised of that for the next 30 days until the General Sessions Court takes jurisdiction of all these.
Yes, sir.
She's to have, of course, absolutely no contact with the victim.
Yes.
Now, ma'am, that means social media, texting, telephone calls, emails, and also no other intervening parties, third parties of any kind. And when I say no, I mean no. And there are plenty of defendants that can tell you I've locked them up when I found that they are, in fact, communicating or attempting to communicate with the other parties in the case.
Yes.
Now, in addition to that, I'm going to require you, Mr. Epps, and to contact the solicitor's office about either a consent order by a circuit judge to have some psychological and mental evaluation done on her as to whether or not she's competent to stand trial first and foremost, and then anything else that the city may need and the state may need in their prosecution of these cases.
Yes.
And you're certainly entitled to go through the solicitor's office for a similar contact with them about ordering that kind of thing.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm very concerned about the length of time that this occurred. And I'm going on the facts as I know them to be right now. Those facts may change, but it appears that there was a gross misjudgment on your client's part in deeming it appropriate in her mind to come over here and continually involve herself with this individual after he actually went to school here in Greenville and was staying over here and taking advantage of that. And I understand from what she conveyed through you and what the victim conveyed through our victim witness that manipulation seems to be going on at all times. But this is a case where I would suspect nothing other than that. Manipulation that's mutual and codependence, at least on her part, for what support she was getting. And I would also require that if there's some reason why she can no longer live with her fiance in Greenville County, that I'm to be immediately contacted, or this court within the next 30 days, and circuit court is contacted to indicate where she's changing her residence. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to also require that GPS monitoring be imposed on her when she's away from the residence and when she's there.
Yes.
And I want her to be tracked about her activities. She's not to travel, even in Greenville County and Pickens County and Anderson County, with regard to her work, unless it can be shown to me that that's absolutely necessary. It sounded to me like you're talking about maybe an internal job with the I believe you said sister or future sister-in-law, that where she can work at the business.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to let her go to your office to visit if need be. Any court appearances, any medical appearances that she needs to make to her doctor or her OBGYN doctor.
Yes.
And also, she'll have some small amount of window of time to take care of laundry necessities and groceries and things like that if that becomes necessary.
Yes.
And I certainly want on the victim's residence in Anderson a red zone to be put around that so that she's to get not within 1 mile of that place, just to keep her away from family members that might have differing opinions over what happened with her, and some sort of violent contact could occur there. And you'll have to report in to the GPS people frequently. They will be conducting your essentially probation while you're out on bond, and you do not want to violate any of the conditions that I've explained to you. You have any question about those, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right. If other charges come up in Greenville County or in some other place, we'll deal with those as they come up.
We understand, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you very much. I'll have the ministerial recorders go over these requirements with me, and then a bond will be executed for the surety bond at the Law Enforcement Center, hopefully sometime later on today.
All right.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, so you saw the defendant getting emotional there at the conclusion of the bond hearing where she's getting a bond. The language doesn't matter so much, surety bond versus cash bond. It just matters how you pay. If you don't show up cash, the cash is going directly to the court. A surety, she's using a bail bondsman is what's going on. And they're going to put up the money as a surety that she's going to show up for her next hearing. So after the hearing was over, then we got to hear the victim, now 18 years old, Grant Strickland, speaking out. Take a listen.
All I really want the public to know is that though it's a traumatic event, I'm here to fight and I'm not going to back down. And that I think more awareness needs to be brought to things like this. And just because I'm a man doesn't mean that it should be shunned away. Because I was a child, I wasn't a man, I was a boy. And yeah, that's pretty much what I want them to know.
And how has that affected you over the past couple of years?
It's made me come to realize that I had to grow up very, very fast and get on a whole nother maturity level that I was never ready for and shouldn't have had to been. Yeah.
And how do you move forward from today?
I think I'm really able to move forward today because seeing it in person made it feel more real. And it feels like a weight lifted off of me. And I don't really think I would have been able to move on if it weren't for the support from family and loved ones and being able to come out about it and be comfortable talking about it and fighting for my power back and right.
For people, because you hung on until you were 18.
Yes.
For other victims who are still holding on to that, what could you urge for those people?
Don't keep something quiet because of someone else, or if someone else tells you to. Protect your peace, because in the end, that's what's going to matter. Yeah.
What would you say to other people who might be holding on?
Oh, yes. Yeah, don't not speak because of someone else, or because you're trying to protect someone else's peace, or in situations like this, you have to put yourself first. And it's gonna feel like there's not anybody there. There's not very many people supporting you, or like that you're not gonna make it to the end, or that there's so many different things that can make you feel defeated, but you just have to keep pushing because the end will be worth it. It really will. The closure, the feeling, it's wonderful. Yeah.
I think you're incredibly brave for putting your face out here and your name and telling your story. What do you hope to be able to do that? Maybe if you can make a difference to others, or
I would love to bring a more awareness to show that this happens, and it happens a lot, and it's not just to women, it's to men too, and it happens to young children, and it's got to stop. And the reason why it's repeating, it's because it's happening to those young children. Like, we need to bring more awareness so it can stop, because I would never want someone to go through what I went through, because I don't really think that most people would be strong enough to survive it. Because I almost did it. Sorry.
My last question, has this forever changed you, do you feel like?
I don't really feel like it changed me. I feel that it made me, number one, grow up quicker and learn to be mature faster. I feel that if it did change me, it changed me in a way that it made me be stronger, but also more cautious, it made it difficult for me to trust people, which can be good, and people shouldn't have to do that.
Wow, I could listen to him all day. This young man, 18 years old now, and able to speak like that in front of cameras, impromptu. He didn't have a script, he didn't have a teleprompter. Nobody was coaching him, telling him what to say. That was all from the heart. What an intelligent young man. I tell you what, I am impressed. Let me bring in our guest legal analyst, see what he thinks. Randolph Rice, your thoughts, please.
He's going to make a great witness at trial, Julie. I mean, he, like you just said, he speaks from the heart. When you're speaking that truth, it's hard to refute that. Now, What I will say is, if I'm the prosecutor, I'm having a very nice conversation with Mr. Strickland saying, I respect your desire to speak to the media, but please don't do it anymore because you can now hurt your case the more you say.
And Randolph, do me a favor, take it a step further. Would you explain to our viewers why that would be a concern for prosecutors?
Absolutely. We had this in the Rachel Morin case, and the family was asked not to talk because the concern was a couple concerns. One, if you say something, that is now on the record, and defense can use that against you. They can bring that video up at trial. They can use those words against you, much like in the Karen Reed case. You know, if you talk about things to the media, that video is going to be used as evidence. So that's a big concern that prosecutors have.
Sure. Randolph, thank you so much for that. We'll see what happens as this case continues, moving to its next court date. That was just the bond hearing, but we have a lot more to get to. Maybe there will be a preliminary hearing. Who knows? If there is, we're going to have our cameras in to cover it. Randolph Rice, thank you so much for the great insight and analysis this morning. We'll see you back here very soon.